The first thing I noticed was the silence, an unnatural, almost mocking quiet that pressed against my ears the moment I stepped into the farmhouse hall. I stopped in the doorway, my breath catching as the echo of my own footsteps bounced back at me. Rows of empty chairs, white tablecloths untouched, decorations drooping like wilted flowers, everything looked frozen in time, like a celebration abandoned seconds before it began. But there were no voices, no laughter, no family. Just me. Maybe I was too early, I told myself. Maybe the caterers delayed. Maybe everyone was stuck in traffic. But even my excuses tasted like lies. My stomach twisted, the kind of twist you get when you sense something wrong long before your mind catches up. This reunion. I had planned it myself, paid for it myself, arranged every chair, every plate, every detail because I had believed, foolishly, that bringing everyone together would somehow fix what years of quiet wounds had broken. I walked deeper into the hall, the cold air brushing against my skin. My suitcase wheels rattled behind me like a reminder of how much I had prepared, how many nights I had stayed awake budgeting, organizing, praying this would be the weekend when I finally felt like part of the family again. As I reached the center of the room, my phone buzzed. A message from Mom. 2 words. You there? My fingers trembled as I typed back. Yes. Where is everyone? Her reply came instantly, like she was waiting, almost anticipating my confusion. Call me. My heart raced. I hit dial. She picked up on the first ring, and before I could speak, her voice, sharp, amused, almost cruel, filled my ear. You actually went. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. I thought I misheard. I hoped I misheard. What do you mean? My voice cracked. A soft laugh, light, ugly, familiar, slipped out of her. The kind of laugh she used when she wanted me to feel small. We all decided not to come, she said. You didn't really expect us to waste our weekend on something you planned. Her words slammed into me so hard I had to grip a chair to steady myself. Something inside my chest shattered. Mom, I paid for everything. You agreed, everyone agreed. I spent months planning. And we changed our minds, she said, boredom dripping from every word. Besides, your sisters didn't think it was worth attending. They said you were being dramatic again, trying too hard to make everything perfect. You know how they are. I swallowed, tasting bitterness, humiliation, memories, the years of being the invisible daughter, the backup plan, the afterthought. But you could have told me, I whispered. You could have warned me. She sighed like I was annoying her. Oh, stop acting like a victim. You're always overreacting. Learn to laugh a little. It's not that deep. Then she chuckled, a short, sharp laugh that sliced through me. Honestly, I thought you'd figured out. But you actually showed up. That's surprising. My vision blurred, the empty hall shimmering as tears pooled in my eyes. Every chair looked like a witness to my foolishness. You knew I'd be alone here, I said, my voice barely above a breath. So what? She snapped. Maybe now you'll learn not to force things. Your sisters have better things to do. And frankly, so do I. My knees nearly buckled. I felt 12 years old again, standing in the rain outside school, waiting for a ride she forgot to send. Felt 16 again, watching her proudly call my sister beautiful while glancing at me like I was a stain. Felt 22, working 3 jobs while they celebrated my siblings' accomplishments, but dismissed mine as nothing special. This reunion had been my attempt at peace, at healing, at belonging, and she laughed at it. Mom, my voice trembled. I don't understand. Why do you do this to me? Her answer was immediate. Because you let me. My heart stopped. There it was. The truth she never said out loud. The truth she believed deep in her bones. A slow burn spread through my chest, an anger I had buried for years, rising through the cracks like fire through broken ground. I straightened, wiping my tears with the back of my hand. You know what? I said quietly. I think I've finally learned my lesson. Another laugh. Good. Maybe next time. There won't be a next time. Silence. She didn't expect that. I felt my pulse steady, like the beginning of something new, something dangerous, powerful, necessary. I paid for this reunion, I said, strength replacing the tremble in my voice. I paid for flights, rooms, food, activities, everything.
And all of you chose to humiliate me.
Again. Oh, stop being dramatic.
No.
The word shocked even me.
No more.
I'm done. My throat tightened, but I didn't let myself cry. If you didn't want me, you could have said it years ago. You don't know what you're talking about. I hung up. Just hung up. My hand shook as I lowered the phone, but inside me, something clicked, a lock opening, a weight shifting, a storm forming. I turned slowly, staring at the empty tables, the vacant decorations trembling slightly from the ceiling fan. I wasn't just alone. I was free. For the first time, I saw the truth. I had been begging people to love me, who enjoyed watching me break. And now I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Resolve. I reached into my bag, pulling out the envelope that held every bill I had paid, every receipt, every cost I had covered. And then I whispered to the empty room, "They're going to regret this." Because humiliation was one thing, but betrayal, repeated, predictable, intentional, would no longer go unanswered. This time, I wasn't going to swallow it. This time, I'd fight back. And as I walked toward the exit, the locked door at the far end suddenly clicked open, like someone was there, waiting, watching. I froze. I stared at the door as it creaked open, my breath caught halfway in my chest. For a moment, I wondered if it was one of them. Maybe they changed their mind. Maybe guilt pulled them back.
But no.
Of course not. The figure who stepped inside wasn't my mother or one of my sisters. It was the manager of the venue, Mr. Arif, carrying a clipboard and wearing the expression of someone who had learned bad news long ago but waited for the right moment to deliver it. "Madam," he began gently, "I didn't want to disturb you earlier, but no one else has checked in. Are your guests on their way?" I swallowed hard. "They're not coming." His face softened with pity. I hated that look. Pity felt like another wound. "If there's any issue," he offered, "I can arrange partial refunds." "No," I cut in. "I'll handle it." Truth was, the money hurt, years of savings, budget after budget, sacrifices, but the emotional blow hurt more. The money could be earned again. The dignity, that felt gone. I walked past him, through the open doorway, into the crisp outdoor air. The sky was beginning to dim, streaked with orange and lavender. The wind tugged at my hair, like it wanted me to follow it somewhere far, somewhere quiet. As I reached the gravel path, my phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Mom. It was Mira, my closest friend, or former closest friend, depending on how loosely I defined loyalty. We hadn't spoken in months. Not since she took my promotion by telling management I wasn't mentally stable enough for responsibility. I almost ignored the message. But something in me, anger, curiosity, maybe both, made me open it. I heard what happened. My pulse quickened. How did she know already? A second message popped up. "Your sister posted a video on WhatsApp family group. They're all laughing about it." A cold wave crashed over me. My hands tightened around my phone so hard the edges dug into my skin. I clicked the video Mira forwarded, my thumb trembling. There they were. My mother, my two sisters, my brother-in-law, all in Mom's living room, plates of food in their laps, drinks in hand, having their own reunion. As if abandoning me wasn't enough, they filmed themselves laughing about it. My eldest sister, Sana, grinned at the camera. "We told her not to bother, but you know how emotional she gets." She probably decorated the whole place. Laughter erupted. Then my mother leaned in, smirking. "Let her learn the hard way. Maybe she'll stop trying to force her importance on us." Another wave of cruel giggles. My vision blurred with rage. Sana continued, "I bet she's there right now, crying. Someone check her location." A male voice chimed in. "My brother-in-law. Leave it. She'll survive. Or maybe she'll finally get a hint." The video cut off. For a long moment, I stood completely still. Then something inside me snapped. A quiet, dangerous snap, like a thin thread breaking after holding years of weight. I suddenly saw everything. Every moment I let them walk over me. Every time I apologized for existing. Every chance they took to make me feel lesser. Every time I convinced myself it wasn't so bad. And now, this video. This public humiliation. This betrayal recorded like a trophy. No more, I whispered. The gravel crunched as I turned and walked, not toward my rented room, not toward the empty hall, but toward the hill overlooking the property. I needed air. I needed a moment to breathe. I needed clarity before the storm inside me grew too loud to contain. At the top, the wind was colder, stronger. It whipped around me, catching tears that I didn't even realize had begun falling. I sank onto a large rock and pulled my knees up, hugging them, not out of weakness, but because sometimes you need to fold inward before you expand outward. My thoughts spiraled. Why wasn't I enough? Why did they hate me? What did I ever do besides try to love them? Then another thought, quieter, heavier, truer, rose to the surface. Why do I still want their love? That question struck me harder than anything else. Because I knew the answer. Years of emotional manipulation had convinced me their approval was oxygen. That without them, I was nothing. That blood was thicker than pain. But the truth? Blood might bind people. But it didn't make them stay. Didn't make them kind. Didn't make them a family. My phone buzzed again. Another message from Mira. Are you okay? I stared at the question. For the first time in my life, I answered honestly.
No.
But I will be. Before she could respond, I switched off my phone. I didn't want sympathy. I didn't want comfort. I wanted transformation. The sun dropped lower, the sky deepening with shades of purple. I closed my eyes and breathed deeply, letting the wind cool my burning cheeks. Images flooded my mind. My job where I was underpaid and overlooked, my failing marriage where my husband barely spoke to me anymore, the anxiety attacks I hid from everyone because strong women don't crumble. I realized something piercing. My family wasn't the only toxic tie in my life. I had been living on autopilot, letting people take advantage, letting myself shrink, letting the world shape me instead of the other way around. And then suddenly, I felt something shift in the air. Footsteps. Soft, hesitant, approaching from behind me. I turned sharply. A man stood a few feet away, a stranger, tall, dressed in a uniform from the venue staff. His eyes were kind, cautious. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't mean to scare you. Mr. Arif sent me. He said you might need help. I straightened, wiping my face quickly. I'm fine. He tilted his head, unconvinced. You don't look fine. I almost laughed, a broken, bitter laugh, but I held it in. He stepped closer, but still kept respectful distance. I saw your family's video, he said quietly. My breath hitched.
How?
It's going around in town now. Someone from your area shared it in a local group. Humiliation stabbed me again, but this time something else ignited too. So, everyone knows? I whispered. He nodded softly. I looked down, my hands curling into fists. Then he added, but not everyone is laughing. I looked up. Some people are angry for you, he continued. Some said no one deserves that kind of cruelty. His words warmed something cold inside me. He hesitated, then asked, What are you going to do? For the first time that day, a slow, determined breath filled my lungs. I'm going to change everything, I said. His eyebrows lifted. Everything. Yes. My voice was steady now.
My job.
My marriage. My relationships. My future. I'm done being the person they can walk over. The wind shifted again, strong enough to push my hair back from my face. A symbol. A sign. Or maybe just the world finally agreeing with me. The man nodded, almost respectfully, then turned to leave. But just before he stepped away, he said, Whatever comes next, you won't face it alone. Before I could ask what he meant, he walked off, leaving me with the wind, the darkness settling in, and a strange new certainty shaping itself in my chest. I stood, ready to head back down. But the moment I reached the bottom of the hill, my phone lit up again. A message from my husband. Just 2 sentences. Your family called me. They told me everything. We need to talk. And that felt like the beginning of another storm. For a long moment, I just stared at the phone screen, the glow trembling in my hand. The night had deepened, wrapping the venue in cool, hushed darkness. Crickets sang in the distance as though nothing extraordinary was happening. But inside me, a storm roared. My husband's message felt like a fist tightening around my lungs. Your family called me. They told me everything. We need to talk.
Talk.
That word could mean anything. Accusations, sympathy, judgment, or, worst, another knife in my back. Still, running wasn't an option anymore. Not from them. Not from him. Not from myself. So I walked back toward the empty hall, gravel crunching under my feet, each step heavier than the last. When I reached inside, the soft, ambient lights cast long shadows across the vacant tables. The loneliness felt less heavy now, not because it hurt less, but because the hurt had meaning. The moment I entered my room, my phone vibrated again. This time, a call. My husband. I inhaled slowly and answered. His voice came through cold and clipped. Where are you? At the venue, I replied. Alone. He exhaled sharply, as if irritated. Your mother told me you had a breakdown again. Of course she did. Of course that's the story she chose. She said you planned some big event nobody agreed to, then you started accusing everyone, crying, making a scene. A humorless smile tugged at my lips. Did she show you the video? I asked softly. Silence. Then, yes. And after watching it, I continued, voice steady. You still think I'm the problem? Another long pause. Then, tiredly. I don't know what to think. Your family said you blow things out of proportion. They said you always make yourself the victim. They said. I know what they said. I cut in quietly. They've been saying it all my life. His frustration crackled through the speaker. This is exactly what I mean. Everything is emotional with you. Everything becomes drama. I closed my eyes. There it was again. The subtle dismissal. The quiet gaslighting. The exhaustion in his voice every time I needed him. Once, I thought his calm made him strong. Now, I realized it only made me small. Why did you marry me? I whispered. If my emotions irritate you so much.
He sighed.
I didn't call for this argument. I called to tell you to come home. Come home. To what? A silent house? A broken marriage? A life where I shrank a little more every day? No, I said. The line went dead quiet. No, he repeated. What do you mean no? I'm not coming home. Not tonight. Maybe not ever. What the hell is that supposed to mean? I felt the final lock inside my heart fall open. It means, I said, voice shaking but firm, I'm done living a life where everyone gets to hurt me, and I keep coming back like nothing happened. It means I'm done begging for love that feels like punishment. It means I'm choosing myself this time.
He scoffed.
You're being dramatic. The same words my mother had used. Goodbye, I whispered, and hung up before he could poison me with anything else. When the call ended, my hands trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of a decision years overdue. I didn't cry. Not this time. Instead, something new pulsed through me. A fierce, trembling clarity. I stepped out of the building and walked toward the far side of the property where lanterns lit the garden path. The air smelled of night jasmine. The wind had softened. The silence didn't feel mocking anymore. It felt expectant. At the garden's edge, someone stood waiting. It was the young staff member from earlier, the one who had found me on the hill. He turned when he heard me approach. Are you all right? I nodded, though all right was too small a word for what I felt. I'm going to leave, I told him. Not just this place. My life, everything.
A beat.
I'm starting over. A slow smile touched his lips. Gentle, encouraging, real.
Good.
We stood there a moment, two strangers who somehow understood each other more than the people I had loved for years. Then he reached into his pocket and handed me a folded paper. Mr. Arif asked me to give you this. It's your deposit refund. He said he's sorry about what happened. I stared at the envelope in disbelief. He didn't have to. Sometimes, the young man said, kindness comes from unexpected places. That hit me harder than anything else, because kindness was something I had learned to live without. I took the envelope, my throat thick. And then, as I turned to leave, he added quietly, you deserve better than the life you're walking away from. Whatever you build next, build it for you. I nodded, unable to speak. I left the venue with my bags and headed toward the highway. The night sky stretched above me, vast and endless, like possibility. My phone buzzed again. Messages flooded in. From Mom. Are you done being childish? Come home. From Sanaa. You should have known better. Stop embarrassing yourself. From my husband. If you walk out now, don't expect me to fix this marriage. A final message came from my youngest sister. They're only mad because they're scared. You leaving will force them to see themselves. Do what you need to do. I stared at the message, stunned. She was always quiet, always invisible like me. Maybe she understood more than I knew. I typed back. Thank you. Then I powered off my phone. No more poison. No more expectations. No more begging. Just me. And, for once, that felt like enough. The road ahead was dark, but it didn't frighten me. I walked toward the bus stop with steady steps, each one louder, firmer, bolder. For the first time in my life, I wasn't running from something. I was running toward something. Toward freedom. Toward healing. Toward a life that belonged to me. And as the wind swept across my face, carrying the scent of night flowers and new beginnings, I realized something with blazing clarity. This wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of the life I should have had all along. And the people who abandoned me today, they had just lost the best version of me they would ever know.